You guys can't hear me. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. How was your weekend? How was your Monday going so far? Let's just talk about it. I'm sorry if the volume is low. I'm in my garage. I have some orders to make. Made in America. Let's go. um, what do we want to talk about? Let's see. We can talk about the Charlie Clark thing. We can talk about Greta. Let's talk about Greta real quick. I saw over the weekend that she was on her flotilla. Is that what it's called? Flotilla boat thing. And this news got overshadowed because obviously there was the tragedy over the weekend with Charlie Clark. But the Greta thing was really interesting. Okay, if you guys don't know, Greta Thunberg has been trying to, I guess, provide supposedly, allegedly, I'll throw that out there, provide aid to Gaza over the last like few months or so, and she she when I first saw that Greta Thunberg was on the flotilla, I thought this was an old story because a few months ago we talked about how she was on the flotilla trying to get into Gaza, trying to provide aid, and then the Israelis kind of like they like boarded her ship and turned it around and like detained her. And then so I'm like, okay, that was that, and that was a few weeks ago, months ago, who knows. And then I saw like a headline that she again was on the flotilla, and I thought it was an old story, but I guess it's a new story. And she's alleging that somebody tried to burn her boat, and there's footage of this where they're just on the boat, and then it looks like a firework. They shot a firework at it or something, and then like basically it looks like a flare flew down onto their boat, and then like a fire happened, and then they put it out, and then they're alleging that you know the IDF or whoever, the Coast Guard in Israel, uh, tried to burn down their boat. And I was thinking, if Netanyahu wanted you gone, he can take you out anytime. I don't know. I just thought that was a very interesting story, and I think about. I don't know why I think about her life right now, and think about how like Greta is like a very interesting person to me because she just got. How old is Greta Thunberg? I forget. But she just got caught up in this whole activism lifestyle, and then now that's just what she does now. And I was just thinking that's a career path to just constantly find like she has to constantly find an activity to kind of like protest, or else she's gonna lose whatever income she gets from doing it. Because it feels like that's her job now, right? To be a professional activist, which how I I mean later on I gotta do a deep dive onto how does Greta Thunberg make money. Because like I can't imagine being a professional activist. That's such a hard like how does that even work? I would love to be a professional activist. Imagine getting paid to like chain yourself to a tree for like a week. That sounds nice. Like AI cannot take that job. That's a you know what? Being a professional activist is an AI proof job. You know, I was at a birthday party, a kid's birthday party this weekend, and the parents get together and we just kind of like chit chat about the future of children and just like things that are going on, business or whatever, right? And we were just talking about how lawyers, accountants, and like some doctors are just screwed, with AI coming out and just scalping all their jobs. And And like being a lawyer is a long endeavor, right? Where you have to go to school, you got to go to law school, there are loans, there's lots of money, there's lots of work that goes into becoming a lawyer, and AI can now do a lot of it. A lot of it. And we're they were saying like, oh, like paralegals and the junior lawyers are screwed, and I was like, yeah, they are screwed because you can't become a partner or a big lawyer unless you go through the steps of being a paralegal, or there are foundation steps that go into it, and you can't do that if the big law firms are not hiring you anymore to do those jobs. And how are you going to get experience now when AI is taking this? So I guess being a professional activist is an AI proof job. If you're just joining me now, I am talking about Greta Thunberg being detained on her, no, sorry, not detained, her flotilla, her boat got firebombed again. That's what we're talking about. All right, hold on. Sorry, I gotta get all the stuff. Come with me. Walk with me. That. Oh, there's a bag I need to get. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Oh, I saw. The other thing I saw over the weekend was on the news. I saw that in California, in Koreatown, there is I guess a new homeless, I don't know, what do they call them now? Unhoused encampment. And this encampment is right in the middle. Basically, you have what looks like condos or apartments on one side, and in the back there are like industrial, kind of like, I don't know, auto shops or whatever, that kind of business on the back side, and then on the other side there's maybe probably more houses, and then it faces the street. So over the weekend I saw the news, they were talking about this. Sorry, I gotta put you back down. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get all my stuff together so I can make all these orders. And this encampment, so let me paint the description of the area, and later I'll post like a video about it because I found it very interesting. So it's facing the street. It's on the street, sorry. And then to the left, there's looks like apartments or condo community, right? Backside looks like businesses, auto shop kind. Left side, it looks like maybe more houses, right? And then it's facing the street. So you go all around, and there's an empty lot. And from the pictures, it looks like a very big lot. Like this lot, I feel like what's going on in this lot is some investor bought the land, and they're going to build like a condo community or something there, and they just haven't gotten around to doing it. And so it's an empty lot, and I guess people find out that it's empty, and then they started building a homeless, like, it probably started with one tent. Like one guy saw that this place was not being used or whatever, right? And he put his tent there, and then he probably told his buddy, and his buddy was like, "Oh yeah, I'll tent with you," and then his buddy probably told another person, and now they got a full on like community in this little area. And what's what's funny about the news though, when they're talking about it, is they keep talking about how there's a tennis court on there, there's a swimming pool. I mean, the swimming pool is like a little kiddie pool, but still there's like a tennis court, there's a hookah lounge, what it looks like it's it's a pretty insane sight to see. And I don't know. I just think that's so funny to me to see that for the condo people, they live right next to this homeless encampment. It's oh, and the best part, and this is what I want to highlight later. The best part is during the news, like how they send out an anchor to talk about it or whatever. During that part, um, in the background on one of the talking news anchor guy that's on location, there was an Amazon delivery person walking into the encampment in the background. That was the best part. Because imagine, like, you're the Amazon delivery person, and, your job is just deliver packages, and then you just go to these random addresses, and it just happens that the address that you get sent to, the news is outside, and there's an encampment. Oh, that's crazy. All right, what else is going on in the world we want to talk about? I don't know. It's been an exhausting weekend. Um, I don't know. The news has been dominated by the Charlie Clerk thing, and I had to explain to my wife who Charlie, because like a lot of people are not on the internet as much or whatever, right? And so I become her news thing, and so some of her coworkers are like, and some are like, ugh, and then so she comes home, right, and she's like, "Did you see the news like about this Charlie Clerk guy?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "What is he? Who is he?" Like, and so I had to explain who he was to her, and she's like, "Oh, interest." Like, I don't know. That was her reaction. I was like, "Oh." And her reaction to me is just literally what I always feel like about a lot of this, these things that keep on happening, and like nothing really gets done, and I feel like we're all very numb to it at this very point. At this point, at least I feel very numb to it. I'm like, okay, I I get it. It's a bad thing to happen, right? But it happens all the time. Like literally, I'm trying to think. Maybe the younger gen. I don't know. I feel like most people that are around should remember a lot of these things. I just remember. Okay, I'm thinking about the first big one that happened during my lifetime. It's either Columbine or the bank robbery thing. Do you guys remember that one? That one was insane. I remember being. I think that one happened when I was in like elementary school, around then, or elementary school, or early middle school. That part I don't remember, but I just remember that that bank robbery. If you guys don't remember, I don't remember exactly where. Like I said, I was a kid when this happened, but I just remember the big points about this one where they tried to rob a bank and then they got out, and this was before, you know, this was actually a very important one. I wonder if you ever do one of those time travel shows or time travel movies, and you go back to key points, and you change a little detail, and it completely changes the world. I feel like if you went back in time and you stopped this bank robbery, like like you joined the crew, and you you like steer them in a different way, and you stop this bank robbery from happening. I wonder if the police are completely different now. And then I'll try to give you guys some context. Like I said, I don't remember exactly where in California this was. I just remember it was in California. They were they robbed the bank. They got out with the money, but they were. I gotta go back and do some research on this. But I just remember this is off the top of my head what I remember. They got out of the bank. They had the money, and they. This is part I don't remember. I don't remember how they got into a shootout with the police. I just remember that happened, and this is the first one where they had full on assault rifles and body armor. If you guys remember this one, right? And this happened at the bank in California. They had full on assault rifles. They were like they were trained full on body armor and assault rifles. And this is the time back in like the 90s or whatever when the police just had their little standard issued shotguns and handguns. Now, like officers have an assault rifle with them. Like you seen the motorcycle ones, motorcycle cops. They have like an M16 in the back or whatever. But this is during this time they didn't have any of that, right? And they just got in a huge shootout with the police. And I just remember as a kid watching this on the news, and there was like you could see the bullets bouncing off the guy. Oh, I remember the other point is I remember they were on PCP. That's what I remember too. They were amped on PCP, and they they had body armor, and they would just because like even if you're wearing body armor, when bullets hit you, it's like getting punched. Like it hurts, right? Because the only thing body armor does is really absorb the bullets, right, and make sure it doesn't go all the way through. And I just remember you can see the bullets bouncing off these guys, and the police were just so under unequipped for this situation, and you know but you can only sustain. This is where one of the events where you can see where real life is not Grand Theft Auto. There's no way that you can do like a Heat style escape and make it out, right? Because that's what that looked like they were. That was like the Heat in real life, where you could see the bullets just, and yeah, they didn't make it out, but they took a whole lot of cops with them when they did this, and from that point on, that's when the police got their new all their stuff that they have now because of that one bank robbery. So that's I was wondering like if you can time travel and you go back and you stop that one from happening, I wonder what the police would look like now. Like that's an interesting one. Let's see. There was Columbine. Those are the ones that shaped at least my childhood that I remember. And then from there on, I felt like it was a blur of something happening all the time, where it's kind of like, okay, another one, and you're just like, okay, another one, and then it got to the point where the news even stopped covering them because they kept on happening because so often that it just stopped getting covered. Like the crazy thing is that about this weekend was that there were two events, right? There was the Charlie Clerk one, and then there was another one at a school, and the one at the school didn't bear. I didn't know that there was one at a school that day, and that's kind of interesting too to think about. That there was another like shooting thing at a school the same day as the Charlie Kirk one, and I didn't even know about it until yesterday. I was like, "What? There was another one that day?" Because I don't know why, but I was thinking, imagine being that guy. Because a lot of times these guys do that to kind of get noticed. They want to go out, be famous before they go. Like, I also found out that there's a whole community out there that thinks about this kind of stuff and wants to be famous, right? Like the more famous you are, I guess there's like a record log out there somewhere that the bigger whatever you do or the more notoriety you can get, the more important you are to that community, right? I guess there's a whole community out there. But imagine being that guy, right? And you put all the time and effort to plan one of these things out. And your event, again, it's terrible. All of it is bad. But your actions, your last moments, right? And maybe it should be this way, doesn't even make it to the front page of the news at all. Like nobody even knows that this even happened that day. Or at least they barely know that it happened that day. That's crazy. I don't know. I just feel like if you, especially if you're gonna go do like a school one or whatever, if you're gonna do that, just take yourself out. There's like the school ones are the worst because it's like those kids did nothing to you, did nothing, did nothing, and you're gonna cut them short just because that's terrible. I don't know. We're in a strange time because as we are already seeing, nothing's gonna get done, and everyone's just gonna keep blaming each other, and then nothing gets done about it. And I don't see how it's possible. I don't know. It could be a. It could be maybe another talk about having. You need to have politicians that are actually younger. One thing I hate about politicians is that by the time they make it into the point where, because there's like a whole like grind system that they need to go through to get to the point where they are. Usually, you know, even just look at just think about AOC real quick. AOC, if you can remember when she first popped up, she was on the fringe, right? If you're joining me now, I'm talking about AOC and how, just using her as an example of how over time politicians just get worn down by the system. uh, and this is where you need to have, like, the career politician is just a bad thing. All right, AOC, when she first came in, if you guys remember, she was far left, right? And she had all these plans. She was butting heads with Nancy Pelosi, and she had like introduced these random bills and whatnot. And she was just like, "I'm gonna, make change. I'm young. You guys are old. You guys don't get it." And she started to do random things. And as the years went on, right? I don't remember. I don't know how long AOC's been in office now, but it feels like as time went on, she learned to play ball, and because like I guess you realize that, hey, butting heads with Nancy Pelosi, especially back then, I don't know how much power Nancy has now, but back then Nancy was still very much in control, and AOC was butting heads with Nancy, and it was getting tough, and over time she realized that certain things that you just gotta play ball on, and then you start getting, you know, when nobody cares about you, or at least when you first come in, they're trying to figure out who you are or how much sway you have. And at the time, AOC started to get a lot of sway, right? And that's when those investors and donors come in. And I, I don't know. This is just what's allegedly. Allegedly, AOC got bought by somebody, and she stopped speaking on certain things. And it's a very interesting thing to see when they they get paid and then they stop speaking on certain things. I don't know. It's a scary thing. All right, so many orders to make. What else is going on in the world? I mean, we can talk about the Venezuela boat thing. That thing's also very interesting. Oh, actually, let's talk about tariffs real quick. I just saw. I didn't even click into it. I just saw a headline that China and the U.S. are trying to negotiate something right now, work something out, and before the trade deadline or the imposed deadline that they're working with. I'm like, what is the purpose? The whole. I wonder if the Supreme Court is gonna back Trump on this. I talked about this before, but I feel like the whole trade war just put us into the whole like tariff war or whatever, put America into this lose-lose situation. Either option right now is bad. If the tariffs keep on going, um, it's like a slow death that's gonna happen, and it's not all. This is, and again, this I'm not saying this is all Trump's fault, but either option right now with the tariffs, if they get struck down or they keep on going, either option, we are screwed. That's how I feel about it. Um, because if the tariffs stay on, prices are continually going to go up. Right? It's obvious by now as the real effects of the tariffs are starting to kick in, because before there were delays, even though like it seemed like a lot of people were under the assumption that when Donald Trump announces something and he's like, I signed the executive order, people think, hold on, make sure I got it. Oh, there it is. People think that once he signs this thing or whatever, that's it. It's final. But there are like on all these things there are start dates, and the start dates on all of them didn't take effect until later, or and people just assumed, and that's the part I really hated about how some of these companies work. Oh, sorry, got a phone call.